Minister, I'd just like to ask you this evening if consideration has been given to converting oil heating systems to eco-friendly biofuel HVO instead of kerosene and other fuels. Thank you.
Minister.
Deputy O'Sullivan, the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, at the request of my department, is currently developing a comprehensive national heat study for Ireland. The study aims to examine options to decarbonise the heating and cooling sectors in Ireland to 2050 and includes the examination of a range of options and pathways. These options include the potential use of sustainable bioenergy, such as bioliquids, in place of fossil fuels in heating systems. The National Heat Study is almost complete, and I expect that SEAI will publish the outcome of this study early in the new year. My department has also recently carried out a consultation on the potential introduction of a renewable energy obligation in the heat sector. Such an obligation, if introduced, would require the suppliers of fossil fuels for use in the heat sector to also supply renewable energy. The level of renewable energy that would have to be supplied would be based on a proportion of the fossil fuels supplied. The obligation could potentially be met through the supply of renewable gas, biomass or renewable fuels, such as hydrotreated vegetable oil. I expect that the National Heat Study and the outcome of the consultation on the introduction of a renewable energy obligation to inform future policy and provide clarity on the potential role of alternative fuels in the heating sector. Thank you.
Minister, and I suppose that's an encouraging response to hear. As you're probably well aware, we have 700,000 oil-burning boilers at present in the country, nearly 700,000 gas boilers, not to mention 100,000 LNG boilers. So I think it's important that that we view that is a fact, and there is a very short-term gain here that we can reduce emissions or CO2 emissions by 80 to 90% by converting many of those gas boilers or gas and oil boilers in the short term and availing of HVO. It goes without saying that up in the north even there's technology being trialled in the Northern Ireland Housing Agency, where they're retrofitting many of their own stock of houses with this technology. Other countries in Europe are rolling it out. The Finns are world leaders on it, so I think it's only a matter of time before we ourselves unlock this potential, and it's very encouraging to see that that's under consideration.
Thank you. And I referred to the SEAI National Heat Study, and just to give you some more information about that, the study will focus on achieving net zero emissions in the heat sector by 2050, but it also aims to provide a detailed evidence base including technology and policy pathways, data and insights for government, industry and other stakeholders, and enhanced energy sector modelling capacity developed by SEAI. The completion of the heat study is expected in mid-January 2022. And the publication will come out in a number of different sections, including low-carbon heating and cooling technologies, district heating and cooling, electricity infrastructure, green hydrogen as a potential fuel for heat, sustainable bioenergy for heat, carbon capture use and storage, net zero by 2050, and exploration of the decarbonisation pathways for heating and cooling in Ireland. And heating and cooling in Ireland today, the spatial analysis and energy efficiency potential. So I'm looking forward to seeing that report in January 2022.
Just to conclude, look, it is welcome, as I've said earlier, but just to put on the record as well that we can convert these boilers for as little as a couple of €100 and reduce our emissions drastically, as I've outlined. And I know that carbon tax isn't a very popular topic inside here, but of the €9.5 billion earmarked over the life of the National Development Plan, around €5 billion of this will be reinvested back into retrofitting programmes like we speak of tonight. Just, Minister, if you could provide clarity in regards to the SEAI and the grant system that they currently run. Am I right in saying that anybody that has previously availed of an SEAI grant is, I suppose, unable to log a second request or second application, or is that likely to be reviewed and changed? Because that's my understanding at present. And just in relation to the full retrofit programme, many of the heat pumps that we're proposing to install in properties have a life expectancy of 7 to 10 years, and I suppose we need to be cognizant of that in terms of affordability going forward and providing loans or whatever other measures for people. Thank you.
And so, earlier you asked about examining the experience of other jurisdictions, including Northern Ireland, and of course we'll do that very, very carefully, and we'll see what experience they had with their renewable heat obligations and incentives. Secondly, I would say that you asked about the SEAI. can you apply for a grant when you've previously had a grant and you tell me that you're excluded? I'll have to check out the rules of their scheme for that. Can we convert boilers to alternative fuel sources? So part of my remit is circular economy and trying to fix things and trying to remediate things rather than building new. So if at all possible, I'll look at that. And you can, of course, you can contact me if you've got some specific recommendations in that regard. Thank you.